My name is Leah Skerrick, and I am talking to you about different concepts that poor readers possibly have. If I agree, disagree, what I think, and different things like that. The first article I read was the Helping Children with Reading Difficulties. And I really pulled the concept that was new to me, or I guess I never really took into account because I never really thought about it, is atypically, high rates of attention deficit disorder. Poor readers have it. It makes complete sense now that I think about it or read about it, because some of my students who have difficulties or are poor readers, they all have ADHD. And with that ADHD, they've never been able to really focus and do the work. They are always moving and their brain is just going 100 miles an hour. So with their brain doing that, they're not able to make the connections with the certain sounds and the letters and all those different things, because their brain just can't function on that. And it makes complete sense. Another one that I found that I totally agree with is treat poor readers as early as possible. But this also comes back to making sure we can test and get the students in and ready for special education, because that is when the kids struggle the most, is they're not getting that extra help, that help that they need. So if we're able to help our kids who are going to be in special ed, to be able to help them sooner, it will only help them in the long run, instead of pushing them off and not helping them in their spots of reading and working with them. When I'm working with my students, some of the things that I'm doing are things they should have been doing when they were in elementary school. But in elementary school, it's so hard to focus on those things because they have behavior issues like ADHD, and they are just working on getting them to make it through reading class, get it so they can make it through math class, and not focus on actually their ability to go and be productive in that class. They're just more worried about the behaviors. So if we're able to and can figure out ways to help them at those younger ages and not be so focused on their behaviors, because they're losing all that academics until they get to middle school. And for example, in middle school, I am currently working with a few 7th graders who are low in reading or struggle in reading, and they are just not, and I'm doing things that they should have been doing in elementary school, but I do it at their grade level, and I do it at their, in a way that they don't realize that this is being done, or this is something that I would have had or should have, or that a 3rd grader is already doing in class. I make it so they don't feel that they are struggling or that they are as low as they really are. The other thing that I learned is the pencil metaphor, or I've thought about. This, to me, is the different ways the teachers teach. And as a first-year teacher, man, did I see a lot and many different things of this throughout my first year of teaching. For example, the eraser these are the people who endure to undo much, if not all, of the work done by the leader. So there's people like that I've noticed that, like the leader is the person who always has the ideas, always doing all these things. And then you have, the sharp ones. These are the people who see what early adopters have done, wiggly grab the best of it, learn from the mistakes of others, and do great stuff. So like, these are all the ways the teachers, all these different things I've seen in the way teachers teach to students. You got the ones who really want to work with the kids. Then you have the erasers who they want to work with the kids, but they assume they know best because maybe they are the more veteran ones. And then they try to erase everything and change the way that they are doing things. The other thing that I found interesting was the reading rope. And the reading rope is like the different, it has like language comprehension, word recognition, skill reading, and it shows the different things that they should know. And same with the pencil metaphor, you can also have that as, I saw it as a thing for teachers, the way I saw it, but you can also have it and it be represented in student forms too. Like one student is the leader and the other student is this person, and you can do it in either way. But back to the reading rope. Language comprehension, you need to know the background knowledge, the vocab knowledge, the language structures, the verbal reasoning, the literacy knowledge, the word recognitions, the phonics, the decoding, the sight words, all those things. And they're so important. And it's just this tiny little steps that we need to make sure that all our students are knowing and understanding to be able, or for them to be able to be readers and be good readers. Things that I agree are the things that I found very interesting is that all students can learn to read. It just takes time and work. I knew that, but when I read it in these articles, I read it in all 3 articles in the slideshow. And when I read these, I just kept reading it, and I was like, you know what? All students are able to read. It may not happen in kindergarten. It may not happen in 3rd grade, but if they work on it, it can happen when they're ready for it to happen. That's the big thing, is the kid has to believe and have the confidence, in my opinion, that they can do this, and then they will sit down and really focus and really try to do this. But when we have these students who are in special ed and their struggle is poor reading, and they, don't have that support at home, they are not getting that attention to help them figure out how to work with their ADHD, and all these different things are just piling up on these kids, and then their academics go right out the window, and all the teachers focus on is making sure that they have good behavior. If they have good behavior, then they're going to be a good person outside of school. Well, that is totally true, but they also need to be able to have that academics of being able to read, because you have to read on a daily basis in your life. So every article I read, every slideshow I went through, I agreed with the majority of everything. There was a few things here and there, but nothing that was out of the ordinary that I didn't agree with, or that, like, it wasn't really anything. It was maybe, I think there was a part that said something about that the way it was worded, I was just like, I don't agree with that. But then after I looked through it and kept reading, then I was like, no, I agree with it. It just, the way it was said in the article was different than how I would have said it. But for the most part, I agreed with everything. I believed that the main thing is all teachers need to know is no matter what age, what grade, what anything, any student is able to learn to read. and be successful and be good at it.